Shut up and sit down.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 38 of the STS Guys. I am Jeremy.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Scott.
And we are the STS Guys, a weekly podcast where we sit around, shoot the shit of anything geeky, nerdy, and cool. What's up, guys? Hey, we have Nate back this week.
Nate has returned.
Dude, I'm so happy to be back. It is hard to not podcast for 2 weeks and watch you guys do it. So I'm happy to be back.
All right, Nate, but you got to admit, though, so it's like when you miss the stream, probably the most exciting thing to do is actually listen to the podcast when you're not a part of it. I know when I was out on vacation for 2 weeks, that was like the one thing that I was actually looking forward to the most, was actually listening to you guys sit around and talk.
That's so true, because I wanted to join when you guys were actually doing it, but I had to wait until afterwards. But as soon as I got alone time, I watched it for like that whole hour, the whole episode. I'm like, oh, I got to see what the guys were saying. What was going on?
Oh, that you finally got some alone time. That's the first thing that you did. Don't lie.
Hey, I was on vacation and I was alone. So, other things may have happened, but I'm not going to admit to it.
You know you missed all of our beautiful faces.
Yes.
I really did. Especially Scott's.
Aw.
I'm just kidding. I miss both of your faces. I actually miss Larry's face. I wish I could see it right now.
Yeah. We made a brag a couple weeks ago that, all four of us were back together. And then immediately preceding that, we have not had all four of us.
Life gets in the way sometimes, unfortunately.
Hey, it's okay. So that's the benefit about having the four of the STS guys. We said one of us drops, another one comes on. I said it's like a family. And another part of our family is our listener audience. And so let's give a shout out to the chat. So as you know, if this is your first episode that you're listening to, we record our show live on YouTube, typically on Saturdays at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I just want to give a shout out to a couple people in the chat. We have Mrs. STS Guy. Hey, what's going on, Mrs. STS Guy? We have Mario Fan 017. We have Cam Griffith. What's going on, Cam? We have Only Emily. Emily, what is going on? We have Iron Archer Films. We have Onsen Sweeney. What's going on, Onsen? We have Heather Bradshaw. We have Harvey Sanders and Nerdsmithing. What's going on, guys?
I have to say, that is probably the longest intro that we've had for people jumping in on the show, to be honest.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for coming on so soon. I mean, it's only 9:03. We got 13 viewers. This is great.
Well,
this is amazing.
Here's the thing. I was actually telling you guys before the stream. I'm like I said, Iron Archer. Like I said, he had a live stream that I hopped in on earlier, where his live stream was basically labeled "Just Waiting," but it was just waiting for us. So, shout out to Iron Archer. Thanks for sticking around and doing your pre-live stream to our live stream.
Yeah,
thank you, Iron Archer. That's so
cheers,
cool.
bud. That's amazing.
Definitely cheers. Cheers to that.
I bow to you, sir.
So. Other than Nate being back, which is probably the one thing that gets me the most excited right now, just because I haven't seen his bearded, lovely face in a couple weeks. That's a lie. I saw him on Friday on the podcast.
Yeah. It's on over a webcam. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and so the special allure of Nate over webcam is it's just something else.
It's dreamy.
It is dreamy, Nate.
You guys are making a bro man blush.
Oh, that's what we do. So, what has been going on this week, guys? Like I said, I know we've all been kind of doing our own separate adventures. So, what's been going on?
It's been a week, man. I think we went and all saw Solo.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about that. I didn't get to really talk about Phoenix Comic Fest very much, but I want to give a shout out to my guys for looking out for me. They got some comics signed by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. I tried to go there. Scott knows the story. We went into the con, went to the DC booth, grabbed the exclusive gold foil DC Metal 6. And, we're like, hey, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo are supposed to be here in an hour. Let's go to their booth because they were scheduled there at 11 o'clock on Friday. So we walk over there, go to Artist Alley, find the booth. There's a lady sitting there. We're like, hey, are they coming here? She's like, yeah, but not until about 4 or 5. They just left MegaCon and jumped on the airplane.
Yeah,
So
we beelined it when we found those comics. We're like, dude, we got to get these signed. Like, let's go now.
Yeah, we wanted to get those signatures. We figured the line was probably going to be long, so we beelined it over there. Unfortunately, though, we couldn't get it, so I was pretty bummed out about that. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to go. I couldn't go on Saturday or Sunday because I was out of town. But the guys, being as cool as they are, they took my comics. They got them signed. So big shout out. I'll show you guys one of them. But my DC Metal #1 midnight exclusive. Sorry for the glare, trying to get that off, but it is signed by Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. I got my Batman #1, New 52 over there. So thanks, guys, for doing that. I appreciate it.
No problem whatsoever. Like, so we were happy to help a brother out because, like I said, I know we can't always be all at one place at one point in time. So, like I said, it's totally understandable. So, like I said, we try to help each other out in regards to that. Like I said, it just kind of happens. Kind of the same thing happened last year with Larry. Larry really wanted some of his. He had these 2 like exclusive like Funko Ninja Turtle covers that he wanted signed by Kevin Eastman. So I said that he had to leave the con that day, and then ended up, I said I ended up getting them signed by Kevin Eastman for him. So, you know what? We're always happy to help out the fellow brethren. Just getting a couple quick questions in the chat. Want to get to real quick. Cam Griffith, Jeremy, what kind of comic books do you have in your background? I think this is your first episode you've tuned into, Cam. Yeah, that's my wall of signed comics. So basically, every comic back there is signed by one person or multiple. So eventually I said it's going to expand the entire length of the wall. So that is the wall of signed comics. Mrs. STS Guys, where's Larry? Larry has a previous event that he's attending right now. He said he
maybe on later.
Maybe on popping towards the end of the stream. So maybe a surprise that he may actually be popping in later. All right. So guys, do you want to talk solo? I'm kind of anxious to talk about this.
Yeah, I'd definitely talk some solo.
All right.
Yeah. So we need to talk about this movie. Like I've been waiting for this one.
All right. So like I said, at the end, let's give our standard STS Guys, a rating. So I think we can rate this one pretty easy. So who wants to go first?
You go first. I want to see what you have to say about it.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah, let's let you go first.
All right. So I immediately went in wanting to shit and hate this movie so much.
I will agree to that. I know that you and I had talked so much shit going up into it.
I literally, I said I had no desire to actually, watch this movie at all initially. Just because I'm like, no one asked for a solo movie, so I'm like, okay. And then and then 2, I'm like, out of everything that was kind of its surrounding, I'm like, I may have not seen it in theaters. Like I said, I was gonna wait for home release, and then like I said, I had some space open up on a weekend one time. I'm like, okay, let me tune in, and we'll kind of go there. So I went into the movie. I said, fully expecting to hate it. I actually enjoyed it. Here's the thing. So I maybe enjoyed it, dare I say, more than Last Jedi. And I said we can get into this discussion here in a little bit too. So I thought it actually had some pretty good story points. There's some different things that were, like I said, were pretty cookie cutter in the movie. So that just kind of goes to the story of how the movie flows. I honestly think if Ron Howard actually had the movie from beginning to end, it could have maybe cleaned some of that up a little bit. It's one of those things where I think it should. I think we should go ahead and just give him another chance actually at a Star Wars movie, because I think he could actually do a pretty big job.
Yeah, no, like Ron Howard as a director is amazing. Like has done some amazing things. So having him actually be able to direct it from the beginning, you're going to have some good story points. You're going to have some great things, but like it really is sad that his Star Wars debut as a director is trying to clean up somebody else's mess, right? Like, and it sucks, but yeah, like he did fairly well with it, I guess. Like, I know they had to reshoot a lot of the movie, but I don't know. I'm not as. Let's just say this: I didn't dislike the Solo movie, right? It was
Well, here, real quick, was it way better than what you'd expected?
yes, yes, it was. It was going into it. I expected, like, I was guaranteeing I'm going to rate this movie a 1 right off the bat. And then I came into it and I was like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Like, I'll tell you where I kind of put it in terms of movies. It's not as good as Rogue One, but I would put it right there with it. Like, I think Rogue One was a little bit better, but this one is just below it. Not bad at all.
I think that's fair.
I think that's super fair.
Yeah, I'm like, same like you guys. When I first heard about it, it wasn't one of those movies I was super excited about. I've always liked Han Solo as a character, but I was a little worried about what they were going to do. Like Jeremy said, nobody asked for this movie, and now it's here. But I was surprised. I thought they did a good job. I thought the actor that played Solo did a good job owning the role and not trying to be Harrison Ford. Lando Calrissian was a cool addition, seeing how their relationship formed, getting to see where Chewbacca came from. I was surprised, and I agree with Scott. Like, it kind of is up there with Rogue One because I didn't like The Last Jedi, and I know I'm probably going to get crucified for that, but I just thought that movie fell flat for me. So yeah, I agree with you guys. I was surprised.
No, I agree, and Scott, to your point in regards to kind of compare it to Rogue One, I think like I said, I put Rogue One, like I said, a movie at notch above, and I think this is the reason why you would too. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Is I think Rogue One is an original story, so there was no preconceived notion of who any of the characters were. So it was basically, even though it's a one-shot story, it's a one-shot story that you had really no context of even before actually seeing the movie.
Yeah, it looks like we got some concern in the chat. Some guys, they're worried about some spoilers. We're trying to get we're talking spoiler-free sort of here. We might get a little spoilery.
There may be a couple of things that might get spoiled, but we won't kind of say what really happened, what really goes on in the movie or anything like that. Like, we're not going to spoil any major plot points or anything like that. There may be a couple little things that we'll bring up, but you shouldn't be too worried.
Yeah, like we're not going to go through and go crazy like, oh yeah, line by line, this is exactly what happens. No, like, so there might be a couple things that people find sport, but like I said, there's a couple things out there. Like there's there's Yahoo articles about the cameo. Like I said, if anybody doesn't know who the cameo is already that happens in the movie, I'd be surprised, just because, like I said, it's been all over the internet. Because
honestly, I think that cameo is the biggest thing to come out of the movie.
Yeah, right. Scott, I could not agree more. I think that that happens is probably the biggest thing that happens in that movie. Anything else, like I said, there's really no spoilers.
No. It was kind of like one of those Red Skull moments where you're like, "Whoa, I did not expect him to show up."
Yeah, that was out of left field.
Right.
Nathan brought that up though. Like I said, I didn't even put like 2 and 2 together. I'm like, that's like 2 of those moments that I've had so far this summer of like, wow, out of left field, didn't see that coming, and then it hit you, kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, and luckily,
go ahead, Scott.
Oh, I was gonna say, luckily, I was able to watch it before all those articles started to spoil everything, or at least started to ping in. That I was like, oh, this is amazing, because I think it would lose its punch had you known what that was.
Yeah, it literally doesn't do anything to the story.
No.
If anything, the only thing it does, it sets up another movie.
Yeah, right. And I kind of like having stuff like that. You get an idea about a movie, you're like, okay, it's going to go so and so. Then all of a sudden they throw something at you, you're like, whoa, that was cool. I didn't expect that. And it adds to the story in a unique way. Where are they going to go with it now?
So, really, based on kind of the whole aspect of it, they're bringing up the story elements and things for the Obi-Wan movie that they're trying to plan to make, and I think that is going to play a lot more into the Obi-Wan movie versus like any potential sequels for Solo. I mean, they left room for like sequels in the in this, so like you could have a Han Solo 2 or 3 or whatever. Like, there's enough time in between, but like that specific thing, I think, is leaning more towards an Obi-Wan solo like story versus having it just this Chewie and Han.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So rather than kind of keep on going people in the dark, so people like who don't know the cameos, the cameo we're talking about is the very end of the movie. There's a hollow projection of a long since dead Star Wars character. That Star Wars character is, like I said, plug your ears if you don't want to hear it.
Okay, we'll give you 5 seconds here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Darth Maul. So Darth Maul comes out, like I said, with robotic legs and all. I actually had to convince Nate of this. He's like, Nate was like, that's not Darth Maul. Darth Maul's dead. I'm like, dude, no, it was Darth Maul. He's like robot legs. He's like, no, I don't think it is. But I literally had to like Yahoo search. I'm like, okay, here.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not really that big of a. Him showing up in the movie is kind of a big like kind of cameo like setup for future movies. But if you've watched like I know it's Star Wars Rebels, and then there's what was the one before that?
It was the Clone Wars animated show.
So in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, Darth Maul is referenced that dude didn't die, and he showed up a couple of times, and actually, spoiler alert, it actually has his eventual death in Rebels. That Obi-Wan finally kills him in that one. So he has been around in like animated form in that expanded universe that Disney's been creating, but not to see him come back in a full-on like major motion picture was amazing.
Oh yeah,
right. No, I totally.
It was awesome because, like I said, that Ray Park, who played the original Darth Maul, was still Darth Maul, but to bring in, like I said, another Star Wars kind of lore here is Sam Witwer was actually the voice. So Sam Witwer, except for those of you who don't know, was actually the voice of Darth Maul in the actual animated show, but then also was the voice of Starkiller in the Star Wars video games.
The voice and character model for Starkiller.
Voice, yeah, good point, John. Voice and character.
So that was really cool, and that to me almost redeemed a lot of the points of the movie that I didn't like. Is the fact that they had things that like you didn't see. There was a few things that like, oh, I did not see that coming, in that movie. But my major problem with Solo was really the fact that the movie was just. It was an entire 2 hours and 15 minutes of fan service, right? That's all it was. It was trying to be like, we're going to explain every little bit and piece of Han Solo's backstory, and if you want to know where he gets the last name Solo, here's how he gets the last name Solo. Do you want to see how he, meets Chewie? Here, going to meet Chewie, and then like here's how he gets the Falcon, and like they make sure to bring up every little bit and pieces of his backstory to be like, remember, you got to know this. Like here's this Han Solo story. Like it just was a little much for me. I think that if you could spread it out over some different things, it would have been much better.
Yeah, well, I can see where you're coming from, but I kind of liked the fan service there, like being a longtime Star Wars fan, knowing the kind of ins and outs that I do, seeing those subtle references, even like little things to connect to other parts of the Star Wars universe was actually pretty cool for me, at least. Like Jeremy said, I know I'm going back a little bit, but when I didn't believe it was Darth Maul at first because of the voice change. So it's funny that you guys touched on that, but once you brought up the fact like, yeah, he had metallic legs, I'm like, oh crap, okay, so it is Darth Maul because from the animated series. But I mean, I was happy with it, man. I thought it was cool, especially the little reveals, the little connections to other Star Wars lore. It was good.
Yeah. So one thing I did like was the portrayal of Lando. Like Donald Glover knocked that performance out of the park. Like he felt like Billy D. Williams, like in the movie. The way
everything else,
he has the mannerisms, the way he talks. Like I know that he met with Billy D, but like you thought like maybe it was just tips and stuff, but no, like he talks like him, and like not just like, oh, he kind of sounds like him. His speech patterns match how he talks in the other ones. Like he did an amazing job as Lando.
It was actually honestly hard to believe that it was Donald Glover. Just because he completely changed. Like I said, for someone who actually kind of changed the way he was and actually embodied a character, like he changed the way he was and embodied the character. Like he completely shifted the person who he was.
Right. No, I totally agree. And it's funny because you see the comparison where the guy, I don't know his name, the guy that's playing Harrison Ford, Han Solo, he's trying to be a different kind of Han Solo, like his own unique version.
Yeah.
But then the guy that's playing Lando, he's doing it almost a one-for-one, interpretation, but it worked really well.
I had to pause there just to point something out. This is what's funny about this. Like I said, I think this goes to Han Solo's credit. And so, out of everybody in that movie, there's 2 actors that I can name. I can't name who the hell Han Solo was. I know
Aldrich Ehrenreich.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Sure, but I could, like I said, I know that Donald Glover was Lando. I know that what's her face was
Daenerys.
Daenerys was like Kira.
And they have Woody Harrelson.
And Woody Harrelson, yeah.
Who I'm pretty sure in every movie that he's in, he just plays Woody Harrelson. Like if you ever notice, like he's just himself at this point. He's gone like he's just gone the way of like Robert De Niro, who's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna be me. Like
I literally would love basically a clip show of everything Woody Harrelson and basically make a movie out of basically all the bits of his movies. I think that would be the most amazing thing ever.
You honestly could. He'd just be like the story of Woody Harrelson.
But
That's so true, though.
You can order it in such a way. For example, so Hunger Games Woody Harrelson, Amish, I think it was his name, his character name in there. So basically, you could have Amish, basically grandpa, old grandpa, Woody Harrelson telling the story of his adventures, and it flashes back to like his roles in Star Wars and roles and everything else, and that's who he was.
Right. And yeah, so my wife's in the chat here, and she just brings up that like when she was watching it, she came in, and she's like looks at it, and she was like, "Wait, is that Woody Harrelson?" Like out of everything else in the movie, not like what are you like watching or whatever. It's like, oh, that's Woody Harrelson. Like.
Yeah, perfectly said, Scott. Woody Harrelson was playing Woody Harrelson. It's kind of like Liam Neeson that way, If you see Liam Neeson,
just himself.
He's just himself. That's all you can expect from him.
Just want to give a couple quick shout outs to a couple people who joined the chat. We have Russ, what's up, man? Joining the chat. We have Where Bud, what's going on? And then we have STS Funko Vlogger. What's going on, man?
What's up, Funko Vlogger? I like how you're keeping that name, man.
Yeah.
Emotion.
Way to keeping the STS name. Like I said, we appreciate that. Showing that
repping it.
Officially part of the fam in more ways than one.
Exactly. So I'm still under the fence that I don't think that the Solo movie needed to really be made. Like it's after seeing it, I'm glad they kind of did, but it really didn't serve much of a point other than trying to push people, like expand out and, like I said, set up the Obi-Wan movie or set up additional movies in the universe. Like, and that's why I think it kind of turned me off a little bit, right? Is this movie is just a vehicle for us to try to, move it somewhere else. Like, this isn't a huge thing. So,
yeah. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but to Scott's point, I think, it's Disney after all. And if you see what they're doing with Marvel, they're adding a bunch of different solo movies for a bunch of different characters. We're getting Captain Marvel, which, to be honest, I don't know much about, but I think they're trying to do the same kind of thing with Star Wars, where they're expanding that universe a little bit. And I agree, Solo didn't really add a whole lot, except for maybe a couple of things. But it doesn't seem like it's a big universe expanding type movie. It's more of just, hey, here's a popular character. Let's tell you the origin story. It seems like they're leaving room for a sequel because they're leaving out a big part of time. Solo is still pretty young at the end of the movie. And we know that the first time we see Harrison Ford, he's quite a bit older. So, maybe in the second one, they'll expand the universe a little bit more. They did it just a tiny bit here, but I think they're kind of doing that Marvel route where they're like, okay, let's give a standalone movie, explain a little bit more about this character because they'll show up later.
No, I absolutely agree. But so Nate, so you bring up the whole Disney thing, and I think because everyone was saying this movie was a kind of a flop in terms of the financials of it. And I honestly don't blame anybody else, but I blame Disney for that. Like I said, I don't think their studio arms are talking well enough together, because so if you look at Disney as a company's movie schedule over the entire year, so for the rest of the year, you have Incredibles 2 coming out, you have Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out in July, and then you have Mary Poppins or something coming out in like December, and I think there's a live action Pooh or something.
There's the Return of Winnie the Pooh, yeah, where.
But we just had a Star Wars movie less than 6 months ago, and and people are talking about like Star Wars fatigue and stuff. I don't think it's necessarily a Star Wars fatigue. I don't think anybody really wanted that movie right now. And right now, so you're sandwiching that movie in between your movie, so you're basically competing against yourself. Right. So even though Infinity War had been out for 4 or 5 weeks at that point in time, like I said, it was still bringing in $20 million over the weekend. That's $20 million it's chipping away at your Star Wars movie.
Right.
It may not seem like a lot, but I said you match that with Deadpool 2, which came out the week before. I said it takes a good chunk out of people who are only going to the movies to see one movie. Like, hey, well, what movie do I really want to see? And like, oh, I've been waiting to see Infinity War. I haven't seen Infinity War, so I'll go see that. Or hey, I've been waiting to go see Deadpool 2. I'll go see that. Oh, Star Wars, I can wait for that, because I said I still want to see that, but I'm just not as excited for that.
It's not excited. So, Nate, you brought up a good point, and Jeremy, you're kind of hitting on the same thing. Is I'm almost glad that the Solo movie kind of failed, because it will at least scare Disney a little bit and scare the people to not make as many Star Wars films, or try to like put them on that schedule where we don't need 3 Star Wars films or 2 Star Wars films a year, like where you could see that they were going in that direction. So having one of them failed, yeah, it sucks, because they're losing money, and it is a Star Wars movie, and it's a great property. But I think they needed to have that one that didn't do well to kind of put them on that track of like, okay, we need to either change the different quality, make these movies more spread out, or, change the way that we approach this. We can't turn these into Marvel movies where we're doing 3 a year. We just don't have that in it. And I think that it was good that they had this, this kind of experience now, so that we don't get that flooded market later on.
No, I think that's a really great point. It's something I didn't even think about until you said it. I was like, yeah, you're right. Infinity War was not that long ago, and now Solo's coming out. And Infinity War is still doing really good. They're creating their own competition. And that's part of the reason why I'm thinking that Solo didn't do nearly as good as they expected it to do. So,
no,
that's crazy, man.
No, I completely agree. Like it's one of those things where I was glad that I saw it. Like I said, I was really glad that I saw it. I think that it made me want to see kind of what's next. Like it actually made me excited for an Obi-Wan movie. Especially if we get the kind of re-meet of Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, like I said, with that whole kind of like battle scene again, or like I said, just Obi-Wan taking in the underground of Tatooine, kind of making it more of a safe place.
Right. So, but that's the other thing too, is like I said, they've already shown the epic like conclusion to the Obi-Wan Darth Maul fight in Rebels. I know a lot of people probably hadn't seen that, but like they actually have their final confrontation in that animated series. Yeah. So it's gonna kind of suck if they have to go back. Like either they're reshooting that exact scene again in live action. It's either reshoot that, or that the consequences that they're not gonna end up beating. They're not going to be resolved, I guess is the best way I'm putting it, is they're not going to have that end moment in the movie that you're watching. So it kind of does suck that there's they've already kind of spoiled how all that ends.
Yeah. Yes and no. And I think the reason why it's a little safer than most, like I said, the divide between who's seen the animated series versus who goes to like the live action movies, I said I think it's a pretty big gap. I think it's one of those things where if we see that and we exactly how it's going to carry out. So even if they say that the think even if the animated series didn't exist, you know exactly how it's going to play out. Like I said, it's how all the other Star Wars movies kind of play out in regards to there always has to be a definitive end to a character.
Yeah.
It was Palpatine and I said and with Vader and everything else. There's always a definitive end to that character story arc.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it's funny. One thing, like, I was wondering when they're going to bring out like a lightsaber moment. I'm like, okay, so in every Star Wars movie, literally every movie, there's been at least one lightsaber moment.
With the exception
with the exception of what?
With the exception of one.
Which one?
Rogue One did not have a lightsaber in it.
It did.
Oh, it did though.
Darth Vader, dude.
Yes.
Vader, man.
I initially was going to not say this, and I'm like, where Rogue One didn't have it. Oh yeah, at the end when Vader's killing everybody.
When Vader goes ham is on all those people.
I forgot about that.
And so the last enemy, well, I can't remember his name, Paul Bettany. So he's got like these lightsaber daggers, and I think the first time, I think they're kind of lightsaber-ish. They had like a red blade.
They glowed like you'd think that they are kind of a lightsaber, right? Like
they seem like it, but that's the first time we've seen like a smaller version of a lightsaber. Normally, it's just the sword, or in Darth Maul's version, the spear or the twin blade,
which you do see at a certain point. He turns that on from the hologram, right?
And Nate, to your point, so a lot of people may not know this is like so in the animated series, like I said, Darth Maul isn't Darth Maul anymore. He's just he turns
Maul or whatever his real name is.
Or whatever his real name is. He's no longer part of the Sith. And so I think basically he basically creates this crime syndicate, and so I think that's where he's basically developing the technology where he gave it to. I wish I could remember the actual guy's name, Paul Bettany's character's name.
Yeah. Anger McGlowy face.
Exactly. With scars on his face.
Anger McGlowy face.
Anger McGlowy face. Where I think he basically gave that tech to him. And I said just miniaturized it and made it a little bit more of a weapon for him.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Cool. Well, then again, too, like, so here's where I'm going to nerd out even extra is where they could have got that technology, too, is so Kira says that Paul Bettany, Anger Mick, glowy face, taught her the same, that martial art that is what all the Praetorian guards use, right? The people that guard the Emperor. So it could just be that he used to be one, or was at one point like assigned to as a guard, and that was maybe the weapon that he used, because they all use different versions of the weapons as well.
No, I couldn't agree more with that. I think that's amazing. So why don't we wrap up Solo? Why don't we give our overall rating of Solo? So, Nate, why don't you go first?
Oh man, put me on the spot. Geez, I'm gonna have to give Solo. I don't know how generous I want to be. I'm gonna say probably 3.5 out of 5 for Solo.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it. There were a couple things that I wish they would have done differently, but overall, it was better than I thought.
Yeah, awesome. Scott, what about you?
So I'm not going to be as generous. Like I said, I think a lot of the movies, like I said, when I put it on par with it, like a lot of the Marvel movies, I end up usually getting around a 3, right? This one, I'm going to put it a 2.5. Like it was good. I enjoyed it, but it was meh for me. Like it was not as good as I would have liked it to have been.
Well, I'm gonna put it right smack dab in the middle. So mine is a 3.0 out of 5. I think there's a lot of different things that this movie did well. There's some things that were predictable. I think the one thing that I wish I could have changed in the movie is I wish I could have changed the whole Chewie and Han Solo meeting, because I think that deserved more time than what it had.
Yeah, that 5-minute thing. And, okay, I'm going to add something else to this too. Where the hell did he learn how to speak Kashyyyk?
Yeah, great
Like
question.
a language that like almost no one in the knows. This random dude who grew up in a sewer knows how to speak.
That's
So they go to explain his last name, but they don't go to explain
How he learns truth languages. Like, was that something that in sewer school that you learn? Like, how the hell do you know this?
Yeah, and then Chewie's just all of a sudden willing to go with him. Like, hey, I've been in this ditch killing people for the last year. I'll go with you.
Oh, and and it's like, oh, this guy that speaks my language,
right?
Like, oh, I guess I'll trust this guy. Like,
yeah. And my other gripe is I wish we would have known more about Kira or Daenerys. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There was really no backstory for her, and then they didn't even explain how she ends up siding with the dark side. Like, just tell us a little bit about what happened. We know that she got taken. She wasn't able to leave, but other than that, all of a sudden she's just siding with them. No explanation.
So. Exactly. Like, just how did he show up, and then how does she know all these other people? Like, she knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. There's a couple of things I'm like, I don't. But yeah, so I mean, if we average it out, that movie's a 3.0, right? Just with the three of us. So it's, if you haven't seen it and you like Star Wars, give it a watch. Like, I know that we're kind of being a little hard on the movie, but it's a Star Wars movie, and we could say definitively, Last Jedi was controversial. With this one coming up, like, we need good Star Wars movies, and we hope that we can push, with everyone's doing it. We want those really good stories and high quality movies, and not rush jobs and massive reshoots. So hopefully that, they start to get better from this point on.
And I honestly think that they will. I think it's one of those things where someone was hired in to go clean up a mess, and they had to work with what they did. And I said they tried to salvage as much as they could. They couldn't basically reshoot the entire movie over from beginning to end to make it their own. So they had to salvage what they could, which may or may not have been their vision. So I think, just before we leave this subject, just to that point, is I actually kind of find it very interesting and kind of like kudos to Ron Howard. Is for the people who enjoy the movie, he's actually purposely going out and retweeting all their tweets.
Nice.
So Ron Howard was basically going through and scanning Twitter, and everyone who's giving him basically positive feedback, he's actually retweeting them. So it's actually kind of cool.
That's cool.
Speaking of tweets,
I know this is a topic Jeremy wanted to go on too.
You see how I tangented that? Like, man, look at that. Like how smooth that was. I had to pop my collar on that one. I think Larry would be proud of that.
That was a good transition.
That was great.
Okay. In the words of Half Geek, let's go ahead and talk about something. Have some tweets got some person in trouble. So we are talking about Roseanne. So before we get started on the subject, the STS guys are not taking any type of political position or want to get into what she said was right, wrong, this, that, or the other. I said we are
anything about us. We're apolitical.
Yeah, we're talking about the show in general, not the person. So just throwing that out there right now. Like I said, if we get into discussion in regards to Roseanne, of her personality, of what she specifically said, we don't care. Like I said, it's we're talking about the show specifically, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how I said Roseanne, had made some off-color remarks, and ABC had canceled the Roseanne show,
and it was quick.
It was. But here's what kind of the thing is. So it was, and this would kind of surprise a lot of people. It was their #1 show last season, or like I said, last fall. It was, like I said, it was their #1 rated show. So it kind of took everyone by surprise that it was how swift it was in regards to the actions that were taken. So that's kind of what's going on. Roseanne canceled. So that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what are some alternatives. And before we get into the alternatives, I actually want to talk about a real alternative that I actually read about literally 5 minutes before we started the stream. There's actually talks about reviving the show and calling it Darlene, and just having it centered around Darlene.
So
Sarah Gilbert's character.
So I honestly thought the easiest way you could do it is just have a show called Dan.
Yeah.
Right. And just
the Connors.
you wanted the Connors. I'm just saying, call it Dan and focus on Dan, and you could kill off Roseanne and have him like have to basically lead this family himself now without anybody, as like without his, I guess I was gonna say better half, but clearly not at this point, right?
Yeah,
So
it's clear that the other actors are excited about the show. I think a lot of them are really disappointed when they found out it was canceled because of what happened. So it would make sense, like, keep the show going. Like, Dan meets somebody else, let's move on. It would be awesome. Call it Dan, call it the Connors. I think it works.
Go the South Park route, and let's have Roseanne killed off in the most ridiculous way possible. Have her like get hit by a bus, and then the ambulance accidentally hits her on the way to go pick her up or something. Like, just make it so it's just an awful, horrible death to just be like the last FU to her. But then just do just carry on with that cast and just rename it something slightly different and call it good.
When we started talking about this when we were all together the other day, is what if we just took completely unrealistic show pitches of Roseanne? So instead of, like I said, let's talk about characters. We don't need a Dan Connor anymore. We have you
have to have Dan.
You have a Stan O'Connor.
Yeah. So you're going the route of Roseanne making her own Roseanne show. So that she can go back in, independent style. Yeah, you have Stan and Arlene and
Lucky.
And you're talking about with having Roseanne back on TV, because I don't know if she's ever going to make it back on TV.
No, like, so the only way she do it is independent.
I'm talking about basically what alternative show would you put in place? Basically,
got it.
A Roseanne like sitcom.
I think the Connors sounds amazing. Looks like only Emily is agreeing. Continuing the show would be the ultimate FU to her.
Right. Exactly. Just keep it going. But obviously the fans all want that show to still go on, right? All the actors were not anticipating it to get canceled and were hoping that it would continue. Everyone has really positive feedback from the show. So just because you have one actor out of a cast of what, I'd say 15 people, give or take, right, that are main or at least reoccurring, 1 out of 15 fucks up. Like, don't cancel an entire show based on that. Just boot that one person.
And to that point, so we were talking about this the other day too, in regards to basically all the actors, just no matter what, got paid. They were all under contract for a second season, no matter what they got it. But the cast and crew wasn't going to get paid, and so that came out the other day too, where that's where I think everyone basically everyone was saying, "Hey, the show should have got canceled." But then there's the other side of the fence isn't saying the show shouldn't have gotten canceled. It's the show shouldn't have gotten canceled because now the cast and crew, so the cast and crew that aren't, like I said, the main cast are out of jobs. So like I said, the ones that weren't under contract, so basically the camera people, the set people, and everybody like that
production design. Yeah,
so that's why they're to pivot this into another show, possibly surrounding Sarah Gilbert's character, so that way they can basically save all their jobs. And then I honestly think if they do that, so if that actually comes to fruition, I actually think it'll probably be more popular than the first season, than the relaunch of the season was. Just for the fact of, I think you're going to have some people that watch it just basically based out of spite, which you should never watch things out of spite, and you should never watch things out of that. But I think you're going to get that extra audience bump from people that are watching it, just because there was controversy surrounding the original. So now let's go ahead and see what this new one's about.
Right. Well, and especially too, you got to think of like, how are they going to make that transition? Like, what are they going to do? Like, do they go the route of killing off Roseanne, or do they say, Roseanne and Dan like retire fully and move to like Florida or something? Like, how are they going to make that transition?
I literally think it'll be a small mention, if anything at all, and it never comes up again. So whether
they just do it the Marvel style, send in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Horrible car crash. Winter Soldier kills both of them, and then we move on.
Yeah. I think something like that. Like I said, it's going to be basically a simple we'll mention a quick thing of where we place a character in some place at the same time that's away from this current placing, this current time, and this is what's going to go on. So,
I honestly think would be the ultimate kind of FU to everybody would be just recasting Roseanne. Just have somebody else come in and pick up as the character and just not ever explain that they ever changed out. So just have some random lady show up and like, all right, I'm Roseanne now, and just continue on, just move forward. So like I think that would be great.
I think they honestly could do something like that, because I honestly thought it was so creative how they, looking back at the relaunch of this current season, is how they involved both people who played Becky.
Yeah.
And so basically Becky was going to be a surrogate mom for Becky, and they were able to bring both actors back into the world of Roseanne. I think there's something that you could do with that. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, just go grab somebody. I mean, you have plenty of sitcom actors and known people that could jump in there to retake the role. Just have them take it over, and it's not like 90% of the people won't know by the time that you air that show that they've recast Roseanne as somebody else. So just do it, and it kind of proves like we actually don't need you, like, and everyone else still gets their payday and gets their
So
it's moving.
In terms of things that'll never happen because it's ABC network TV, but here's a theory that I would want to happen. So there's this one episode of Roseanne way back in the day. I think it's like the first or second season, basically where Roseanne goes out of town, and then Jackie kind of steps in being the mom for like Dan and the family. And then Jackie doesn't think that Dan remembers meeting her and doesn't like anything like that. So he basically just kind of ignores her. But as she was leaving the house, he remembers the exact time he met her, exactly what she was wearing. So you can tell there's some type of like romantic thing there. Where it ends up happening, Dan was cheating on Roseanne
with Jackie.
And so Jackie then becomes the new mom, and then that's how it happens.
That just got dark.
Yeah, like as much as I would love that, because it would be a great FU. Yeah,
but it would be funny.
Yeah, so it would be the great way to get it and everything. But yeah, you're right. It's ABC. They're not going to have Dan, who's supposed to be the everyday man, as a cheater, because it's just it derails his character a little bit, and it's
dead, so
yeah,
they want.
Right? Yeah, it's true.
Like I said, I said it would never happen, but I said it would be something that I'd like to see something like that happen. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, like, so what else would you guys like to see happen? Like, I think there's enough there to where they can relaunch it with what characters they have left. I think it's just a matter of what they do to kind of take it forward.
Iron Archer, beginning of next season, Roseanne fades away into dust, and then she was actually a Skrull.
Roseanne comes back and it looks
What?
different.
There you go.
Whoa, pause.
Whoa.
Wait. Naked Barbie.
Have a naked Barbie.
Hey guys, it's me, Barbie. What's going on?
Naked Barbie, what's going on?
All right.
What's going on?
Hey,
Larry.
Join the stream.
what's going on, guys? What did I miss?
Everything.
Solo, and we had just started talking about Roseanne reboots because this seems to have people in a tizzy.
Oh, really? That's awesome. So
And-
yeah, Roseanne got in trouble. What do you guys think? What do you guys think that they should do with that show? Because it's not fair, right? That everybody else on that cast just lost their job.
Yeah, we were just going through the ideas. The Connors, Jeremy had some good ones.
So we talked about Jeremy's saying that Dan's a cheater with Jackie, and she becomes the new mom. But like I said, I just want you could just have the movie or the TV show, rename it Dan, and don't change anything else. Just Roseanne leaves, she's gone, and you continue the story with however you want. Because really, this newer season revolves around the kids anyway. For the majority of it, they're becoming more the main focus. So removing Roseanne really doesn't change a whole lot of everything.
Larry, that was the best way to enter the stream with Naked Barbie.
Yeah,
I thought it was appropriate.
I think I was
really
Naked Barbie.
Right.
If I recall correctly, that was from your mystery box, right?
That is throwback to my eBay mystery box from a couple months ago.
So here's the question I have: is all the stuff that I know that you threw away out of that box, you kept the damn Naked Barbie?
Dude,
Like of everything that what else was in there that you're like, oh, I threw all these other things away. Naked Barbie, I might have use for that later.
So one day when STS Guys are the biggest thing on the planet and people want to like come to the STS Guys museum, I gotta save the artifact, man. Like this is the first video we had that had like what 2,000 views.
Yeah,
It's history.
That's true. That's true. I like it, Larry. I like it.
What are some of your theories? Like, what pitch me a Roseanne show? What would you like to see? You're in the perfect. You join the perfect time for Roseanne show pitches.
So if I repeat anything that's already been said, I apologize because Jeremy and I talked about this a little bit ahead of time. So I think you.
So you are
okay. All right. Cool. So I think that what if you just right? It's not fair that everybody lost their job. What if you just bring it back as the Connors, right? Because they're the Connor family. You bring it back as the Connors, and you just completely ignore the fact that Roseanne ever even existed. Can't be exactly the same show. There's probably copyright infringements and all that. Roseanne will get pissed. So you got to tweak it ever so slightly. So instead of like Dan, you have Stan Connor. It's not the same thing.
BJ.
But really, like honestly, do
BJ?
you have to actually change any of the characters' name at that point?
Probably not, but it's a whole lot funnier if you have Marlene instead of Darlene.
Yeah, I said just get Arlene, in there. But yeah, like I think you could honestly just continue on and just ignore the whole fact that just Roseanne, the actress, isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
So
who cares?
Emily pointed out Roseanne.
Roseanne.
Roseanne. I'd watch
I
that.
like that.
It sounds like a drug. Like
Yeah,
Prozac.
if you're depressed, you take Roseanne.
That's amazing.
That's perfect.
Wait, I thought if you're depressed, you take Ambien and then you say weird stuff on Twitter.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You did miss my flow from Solo to Roseanne, and I used a Twitter bridge. It was amazing.
yes,
Nice. Well done.
You'd enjoy it.
I will listen to the replay tomorrow.
So real quick, little Larry. So I was reading an article. I was on the guys right before I joined the stream. Was they are actually thinking about bringing the show back, but actually centering it around Darlene. So
I saw that too. Yeah, I didn't read the article, but because God, who reads articles anymore? I just enjoy reading titles.
Yeah.
But I saw that too, so I have no idea what they're thinking. But wasn't Sarah Gilbert like one of the ones who like kind of pushed for it to come back anyhow? So that makes sense.
Of all the people that
cool.
didn't expect it, and that were saying like, I want the show to continue.
Just do me a favor and completely ignore Roseanne ever even existed. Darlene doesn't need a mom.
You missed it, dude. I was just saying, just recast it. Just get a new actress to show up.
Can you do that though?
Yeah, I think you can.
Can it be like can it be an African American lady?
Yeah, just some lady.
Oh, that's even better, right? Because she was mean and racist.
Michelle Obama.
No, just have it. Who is the person that she was insulting? Just have them recast as
they
her.
At least need a cameo.
Yeah,
that lady's important. She was like this, like what? She was Obama's main advisor. She's not going on a crappy ABC TV show.
Just saying,
you can get one of the ladies from The View.
Yeah,
that's an ABC show too, I think.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, Whoopi, she would be perfect.
Oh. You were talking about earlier this week, and I think that this would be amazing. Is like, so you were talking about like if they instead of basically rebooting Roseanne, they basically had an entire Roseanne season without Roseanne of Dancing with the Stars, and so basically the entire cast is now Dancing with the Stars. I would actually watch Dancing with the Stars if it was all Roseanne characters.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Right? No retired football player, none of that stuff. You just get the entire cast of Roseanne ballroom dancing.
I like Iron Archer's idea. He said it a couple of times, but Roseanne was a scroll the whole time.
I get it.
And the real one shows up.
I like it.
Yeah, Oprah. Oprah could be Roseanne.
You get a tweet. You get a tweet.
She's too rich.
Everyone gets a tweet.
But she's a pretty. You think like, can you kind of get that one last little dig to somebody, and like they might do it just out of spite. So let's bank on the fact that there's going to be some people that want to take on that role.
Future President Oprah Winfrey is way too busy to be on the new Roseanne. Wait, you could call it Oprah.
Yeah, and just have her, and then have her just take over, right? And just like she's like, oh, I've now married to Dan, and I have this new family.
Hey guys, stepmom Oprah.
Hey Scott, I am excited for the new season of South Park on how they tackle this, because this is going to be a thing in South Park.
It's going to be a thing.
It's going to be a thing. It's already a big thing online about people saying all this racist stuff and be like, sorry, I just took an Ambien. So I just kind of wait for what they hit. Although the worst fear is going to be that they're not going to be able to tackle it because someone else in Hollywood is going to do something even stupider in the meantime for them to tackle that instead.
There's got to be at least a joke in there, right? You got to get a dig. It'll still be like I think it'll still be funny, even if it's kind of a throwback at that point. I'm not sure when South Park comes back.
In the fall, yeah.
Cool.
There'll be something.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Because I don't know if you've noticed, I have an entirely new setup because friend of the podcast, Chris, called me out on my boring plain background last week. So this is my last minute. Like I was clearly out, right? Like 5 minutes before we left, I'm like, oh no, I need to set something up. This is what I got. I hope it's good enough for you, Chris.
It works. And then Chris wasn't the only one. All your other fellow STS guys called you out too.
True.
It looked like you were in a hospital room.
Aquabats poster on the wall. Nothing else. Well, I switched to the other side of the room, cleaned up my bookshelves.
I like the improvements. And it looks like actually Scott has added to his wall too.
Wait,
I have.
Oh, you have? That's awesome.
I put on a couple of the different art prints and things that I have coming up. Still got a lot more stuff to hang up, but it's slow going, trying to pick up frames and everything.
I missed the bear
episode because
he's still there. I don't know if you can kind of see. He's
South Park episode ideas. President Garrison goes on a Twitter binge.
Yeah, that
would be amazing.
That would be exactly what he would do.
It's almost too real, isn't it?
Maybe he goes on a Twitter binge and gets fired as president.
That'd be funny. The Twitter binges. Look what Trump is starting.
I'll watch that all day long. So we are coming right up on an hour, guys. So before we go, like I said, I just want to talk about something that has also popped up on our channel last week, and that is our super mega Funko Pop Grail giveaway.
Did you say?
Wait, Jeremy. First off, you struggled on that one a little bit. Do it again.
Do it again, Jeremy. Do it again.
Reverse these times these, okay? I'm here to talk about our super mega Funko Pop Grail giveaway.
Did you say super mega Funko Pop Grail giveaway?
I think he said super mega Funko Pop Grail giveaway.
I think we're all going to say it at the exact same time. Super mega Funko Pop Grail giveaway.
Yeah,
super mega Funko Pop Grail giveaway.
Yay!
So if you haven't entered yet, make sure to head over to our YouTube channel or go to stsguys.fun to enter to win this vaulted Fugitive Toys Black and White Dr. Doom exclusive, valued at $100 plus. So,
and if you guys didn't notice, we're almost we're 25 away from 1,000 subs. So if you haven't subbed us up yet, that's an entry for you into that giveaway.
Bonus entries.
Did you say
bonus entries?
Larry.
That's almost perfect timing with your dog. Did you say roof?
He's barking at the naked Barbie.
Especially because we listen to. I said I know you listened to the same podcast earlier this week about like, hey, we don't want to hear a podcast where your dog's barking in the background.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Yeah.
That's the first time he's ever barked.
Yeah.
He didn't like Barbie.
Mine were last week. Decided to have a battle royale in the hallway outside the door. So
I put mine to bed, though. They are sleeping.
I've had my dog bark on the stream before.
Well, technically, this is my dog's room, so I'm in his space, so I can't really put him to bed yet.
No. He's waiting for you to get out of there.
So Emily says, if we pet the dog, is that another giveaway entry? I'm game.
So as we're like talking about stuff, right? I think next Monday, Jeremy and I are going to do a top 10 Funko Pop live stream. So look for that. Ooh. If Funko announces their SDCC giveaways, come here. Say hello.
We got a special visitor.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah. All right, get out of here. All right.
Special guest podcast, Ian.
Special guest. Whoop whoop.
Special guest, Ian. What's up?
So if there's a rumor out there that Funko's going to drop their first wave of San Diego Comic-Con exclusives on Monday, if that happens, I might be on a stream with Union Jack Gamer. He's a Funko YouTuber guy. So look for that on Monday. If that happens, I will definitely post up links everywhere. And like I said, if that doesn't happen, me and Jeremy are going to do our own Funko live stream next Monday. It's going to be rad. Definitely want to get in on that.
Perfect choice for that because I think you have a deep wealth of knowledge about Funko Pops.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk about our giveaway.
There you go.
Spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about the giveaway a lot.
Well,
this giveaway?
That giveaway.
If you're going to classify a pop as a grail, I think you two are the experts for that. So that is definitely a grail pop.
It is quite nice.
If you do like pops, check out Jet Hot Patrol. He's doing 30 days of giveaways in June, including like the main prize is a old school Wonder Woman chase pop. So go check out Jet Hot Patrol. He has like a couple thousand subs. I'm sure if you're subbed to us, you're subbed to him. But if you're not, go check out his channel as well.
Awesome. I think that brings us to the end of this week's show. Larry,
do your thing.
Do your thing. You joined at perfect time.
So check out the STS Guys on Patreon if you're enjoying our content. Help support us for as little as $1. Anything helps, guys. We totally appreciate it. How else am I going to be able to afford more naked Barbie dolls? Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at STS Guys, on Twitter at STS Guys, on Facebook at The STS Guys, and I am Larry from The STS Guys. And Barbie.
And I'll fill in Nate because normally he says this, but he didn't say chilling like a villain.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Stolen.
All right. So for episode 38 of the STS Guys, I've been Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
Hey, guys, it's been Nate.
And I'm Scott.
And we've been the STS Guys. Have a great night, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.